And we are live. Weird one there. I clicked start. It didn't start. What's going on, everybody? MLB Live Before Lock, Wednesday, October 2nd. Josh Engleman here to break down 4 baseball games. If we're lucky, all the teams that won yesterday lose today so that we get 4 games again tomorrow. The most likely scenario here is that 2 of these games aren't going to exist. The show, I want to get this out of the way right out of the gate. The show tomorrow, the time is up in the air. I have an appointment at 2. So if the Astros and Tigers play, then we're going to do this show earlier than 1:30. If the Astros and Tigers don't play tomorrow, then we'll probably do this around 3:30. Big day out of the Mets yesterday. Not much else on the offensive side. Michael King, very necessary. 40 DK points. Hope everybody had a good day. I did. Not in the DFS side, but just in life. It was a good day. Trip says, stack the New York-Milwaukee game and still lost. All the wrong guys. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. You don't want to hear that. That's for sure. King got you there. Good. Kenny Brayboy says, my day sucked. I get it. So I ran my sim already. I have my exposures. We're fading Houston. We're jamming the Tigers. Have you heard that story before? That sounds like yesterday. There you go, Kenny. Tigers and Royals are the 2 teams that I'm getting to the most here. That's pretty familiar from yesterday. We have quite a bit of ownership coming into Hunter Brown, quite a bit of ownership coming into Joe Musgrove. We are going to touch on all of it. Larry, I might be choppy, and I don't know if it's you. When I clicked to start the stream, I had to start it back over again. It didn't appear to be working well, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that something is going on the StreamYard side. Is anybody else having any choppy issues? Let me know. Yeah, not getting to a lot of the pods, not getting to a lot of the Braves, not getting to the Astros, neutral for the Mets, Brewers, and Orioles. But let's talk through every single team quickly. We'll touch on some individual players, and then we will build some lineups. So as we started off, Astros 4.5 run implied total, Tigers 3.4. So sizable favorites here for Houston. Biggest favorites on today's slate. Lots of ownership coming into Hunter Brown, north of 40%. Not a lot of ownership coming into Tyler Holton. And honestly, I don't see the path where you should ever roster him. The Tigers are going a bullpen game. Like maybe you get 2 innings out of Holton, but he's not priced like that's feasible. I think any ownership to Holton is a mistake. You know, if you were 4K or 5K, I think that conversation can change a little bit. The fact that he's 6,800 to me, it makes it impossible. Like, you've got Frankie Montas, $400 more expensive, but he's a real starter. Eflin, Musgrove, Manaea, Brown, Lugo, Fried. Like, we're not messing around with like fake dudes today. So to me, Holton is a straight scratch off. There's only 7 real pitchers for today. If we're talking about bats, we got to start with Houston. They're the most owned team, 18% in the aggregate. They're the number 1 stack in stochastic top stacks. They're the number 1 stack in my top stacks. So, you know, we're getting the best team that you can get to. I think it's the best offense. They've got the highest run total. But on a day like today, I get more interested in the teams that I think are probably a little underowned than someone like Houston. Now, clearly, I have absolutely no problem getting Altuve, Tucker, Alvarez, on any of these 4 gamers, other than, to me, Tyler Holton. But when it comes to ownership, I mean, we've got Altuve, Tucker, and Alvarez all around 20%. You're really only expecting one of those guys to truly succeed. They look good. They're just already owned. Whereas I look at some of these other spots, like the Tigers on the opposite side, where you have someone like Hunter Brown pulling a ton of ownership. I think Hunter Brown is getting too much ownership, not like he's over-owned, but I think Hunter Brown is getting too much ownership because of his price. Even with what we've got going on today, 8,300 is too manageable, and I think that's what's really causing the problem. Like, he's the best pitcher. I don't want to undersell him. I like him more than Stochastic. But on a day like today, where you only have limited options, I think the idea of getting to the Tigers is more appealing than the idea of eating Hunter Brown's ownership in its entirety. I'm still getting 48% of Hunter Brown. So it's not like it's not happening. But when I don't have Hunter Brown, I want the Tigers. Parker Meadows, Kerry Carpenter, Veerling, Riley Green, Colt Keith. These guys are all in 20+% of my last run. And then some. I mean, the top of the order here, in particular, the lefties in Meadows and Carpenter, very cost effective. So I think it's probably in our best interest to just take a peek at Hunter Brown. And if we do that, we see a guy that just does not get hit hard. 120 X ISO against lefties this year across 1,600 pitches. 103 to righties across 1,300 pitches. We're talking about a guy. I would not be surprised if Hunter Brown has the lowest ISO allowed of any starting pitcher this year. I mean, like all of them across the board. I'm going to look it up right now just to see who has the lowest ISO. I don't think that I can look at X ISO on Fangraphs in this table. At least I don't think so. So if I set this to just starting pitchers, do they have X ISO? I don't think they have expected stats. It's not in pitch modeling, right? It's not in pitch level data. No. Yeah, not there. Oh, do they even have ISO allowed? Shit, they don't. All right, we can approximate that. At least a little bit. I mean, who's got the lowest home run per fly ball? Is he in that range? Nope. How the hell do they not have ISO allowed here? That's so weird. They have average, but they don't have slugging. So I can't even calculate it myself. Huh. Well, that's pretty annoying. Do they have it in the splits leaderboard? They have to have this. Right? I mean, I guess they don't. Okay, there we go. Oh, nope, that's batting. It's going to go away when I switch this to pitching. This is going to piss me off. Standard. Okay, so they have average and slugging, but they don't have... That's just stupid. You can't have all these stats and then not show ISO. Who the hell wants that? You can filter it. Can I? No. They only have 3 filters. Well, thanks for nothing. ISO? So they have everything but that. Awesome. Awesome. Lowest slugging percentage? Is Hunter Brown around here? All right, so Hunter Brown is 29th in slugging percentage. 112 ISO. Wish I could calculate that column. So the DFS player in me looks at this game and thinks, well, it's going to be pretty hard for Hunter Brown to get blasted because he doesn't give up power. It's going to take a lot of inaccuracy pitching, so walks and untimely hits. But the non-DFS player in me looks at it and thinks, I don't know how Hunter Brown gives it up here. And he's going to see a sea of lefties. They've got 6 of their 9 guys in from the left side. But it doesn't seem like lefties matter to Hunter Brown at all. So, in a way, I'm happy with what I have. I would say this. Hunter Brown is the best pitcher you can get to. And I'm very happy to be in and around the field. That 45 to 50% range, I like. I'm happy to have the Tigers. And it is a team I want to be over the field on. I don't think I need to be as over the field on the Tigers as I am. Keynote, all the teams today, except for the Padres, have a top stack between 10 and 20. So that's kind of interesting. But I am jamming Parker Meadows, Kerry Carpenter, and Matt Vierling. I just am. I mean, even Jake Rogers is 12% owned. That's more than I have of anybody in Houston. The Houston side looks really good. I can't deny that. And they're a decent enough value, even with some of their heavy salaries. But if I'm trying to win the 50K today, I like the Tigers side more, especially with their backs against the wall. Not that that actually matters to me, but it matters to them. Tigers are 7th in top stack for me and for Stochastic. We have them as the number 1 value. I have it 2nd, but we're talking about 0.4 of a percentage point. I don't think Framber Valdez was supposed to be a safe pick yesterday. He's got his qualms. But I like the Tigers' bats. Carpenter obviously has real power. Parker Meadows has enough power. Riley Green has real power. There's not really any, there's talent holes in the Tigers lineup, but they've got some pop. So I'm very intrigued by the Tigers, less so in Houston. Brown will go 5 at most today. JT, you should bet his outs prop. Assuming it still exists. Do you really need run support for a good pitcher score? Oh, that's not to me. But no, you don't. Is the answer. Hunter Brown outs prop. 15.5. Okay. So this line has moved. 15.5. Kind of on the number, maybe a little bit of juice to the under. I'm a little bit higher on Hunter Brown given his normal depth, but I think that's probably over projecting Hunter Brown a bit. By the way, that definitely makes me more interested in Detroit. Ike money. Oh, did I say Houston won? I don't know why I would have said that. Yeah, obviously the Tigers won yesterday. So if the Tigers win today, this one is over. I flipped that in my head for reasons that I don't totally know. Favorite Detroit batter? Parker Meadows. It's either Meadows or Carpenter. Oh, Malakar, come on, man. Come on, man. Killing me here. Dodgers Valenzuela on leave to focus on health. I'm not going to lie. I thought Fernando Valenzuela was dead. I really did. Let's look at Orioles Royals. This one did not go my way yesterday. The Orioles couldn't get a damn thing done. The Royals are my other team. Is Keith at risk for pinch hit? Yes and no. Of course. Makes some sense. Yeah, he is a little bit. But nothing too crazy. Because McKinstry also hits from the left side. The part that could get Colt Keith is the fact that they go back-to-back lefties and he's behind Riley Green. So the natural thing would be, if they're in a situation where it matters, you bring in a lefty to face Green, and I don't think Green is leaving the field. So then the natural spot would be then pinch hitting with a righty for Colt Keith. But you need a pretty specific game script for that to happen. If Colt Keith is going to face a righty, they're not going to pinch hit him. So it all sort of depends on, like, if Riley Green gets up with any sort of threat in the game, then they're going to go to a lefty, probably the third time around, is my assumption. I don't mind the amount of Orioles that I have. Basically dead neutral to the field. They're third in top stack for me and for Stochastic. Seventh in value. We know that they're a little expensive. They do run out the double first baseman, so you can't get O'Hearn and Mountcastle. Lugo on the opposite side. Eflin and Lugo both like 15 to 20% owned. It's about where I'm at too. A little bit light on those guys, but still getting to both of them. The stand that I'm taking is on the Kansas City side. Obviously, not a lot of run scoring in yesterday's game, but going back to Kansas City, Massey, Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, Melendez are the five guys that I'm getting to most. I have no problem getting Isbell or Yuli Gurriel if you need to save some salary. I mean, you get $1,600 extra dollars by not using Pasquantino and going to Yuli Gurriel. You're also downgrading in talent by probably a magnitude bigger than that salary difference. But as I look at the Royals, I see a team that's not getting as much ownership as they should. A team that's around 12% to be the top stack, but also 12% owned. That's a team that I think should probably be pulling a little bit more ownership because of how good of a value they are. And it's not even just the value. It's the way they're stacked. Second base, shortstop, first, catcher or first, another first, and then you hit the outfielders. So the idea of getting to like a Royal stack and then using your Kyle Tuckers and your Yordan Alvarez's, that becomes a little bit more appealing because the Royals are really easy to roster. So I think we want to pay attention there. For the Orioles, they're a neutral team to me. When we look at the Brewers and the Mets, this is also very neutral. Mets are 13% owned. Brewers are 13% owned. I've got 12 and 15 of those two teams. So I'm just sitting at the field. Now, it happens in different ways. Like Churio, Contreras, Hoskins. I'm 2Xing those guys. And then Bryce Turang, Sal Frelick, I'm not really getting there. On the Mets side, lots of Lindor. A decent enough amount of Nimmo, Vientos, Pete Alonso, but then light on Marte and Tyrone Taylor. So this is the game that I think is just like perfectly suited to have a little bit of everything. I got 15% of the Brewers. I have 12% of the Mets right around the field. Frankie Montas is 25% owned. I have 40. And I think that just kind of happens because Montas is the salary floor because we're throwing out Tyler Holton. So I'm getting to Montas. I'm dead neutral on Manaea. So the way I see this game is basically, I don't really know what to take from it. The Brewers' top stack odds. Stochastic has it at 12.7%. I have it at 12.6. 14.3% value to 14.1. I'm in lockstep here. So I think the ownership is about right. I think the modeling is about right. So I'm around the field on Milwaukee. It's the same thing for New York. 15.6% top stack versus 15. That's the same number. 12.8 to 12.1. Same number. They're 13% owned. This game in its entirety is owned perfectly. All the hitters, essentially, all the pitchers, essentially, like everything here to me is just filler. Like you build out a different chunk of your lineup, and then, if you have Montas, then you're not getting the Mets. If you have Manaea, then you're not getting the Brewers. It kind of just leads you to like the secondary step of lineup construction. That's the way that I see this game. And then finally, Padres Braves. It's Musgrove and Max Fried. This is the guy I'm getting to the most. By all accounts, it seems like the Atlanta Braves are going to go home today. I have 60% of Joe Musgrove. It went quite well for Michael King. And I'm going right back to the Padres starter. This is my most exposed guy on today's slate. If I'm getting to one pitcher, it's the 8K Joe Musgrove. To me, he's the priority. Max Fried, on the other hand, is the opposite. He's 24% owned. I don't have him. One single solitary share. Now, the interesting part here is that I actually have a little bit more of the Braves bats than I do the Padres. I think the Padres are just really hard to get to. Here's how hard the Padres are to get to. They are 8th in top stack for me and Stochastic. They are 8th in top value for me and Stochastic. And they're dead last in ownership as well. It's really hard to want to get to San Diego today. Nothing looks good. The Braves, on the other hand, are actually a little bit more owned than San Diego. And it's just because they're incrementally a better stack and a better value. But it's not like I want to soar over the field here either. I would rather get to Musgrove than get to the Padres bats or to get to the Atlanta bats. I'm always interested in Michael Harris in the leadoff spot, but this is a game where it's really just Musgrove and nothing else. The most I have of anybody from the Padres and the Braves is 10% if we throw out Musgrove. So I'm going to funnel everything I have to the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals. They're making up more than half of all of my exposure on the hitting side. And then it's just scattered amounts of Orioles, Brewers, and Mets. That's where we stand. Slim Scully says, no love for Eflin. He's fine. He's fine. Like, I don't have any real thoughts on any of the individual pitchers other than Holton being like a firm no. The way that I would rank it is Musgrove, Brown, Montas, Manaea, and then whatever you want out of Eflin, Lugo, and Fried. I don't hate Eflin. He's 21% owned. I have his implied ownership at 21%. It just so happens I'm coming in a little bit lighter than that. And I think the biggest reason that I'm light on Eflin is that I like the Royals. So it's not that I have a problem with Zach Eflin. I just happen to be getting to the Royals bats because I think they're really easy to get to. We got Liverpool later today. I mean, we're at the top of the hour. Robert Dawson says, single entry thoughts. Same thoughts as everything else I've said. To me, generally speaking, there's not a difference. The chalkiest of the chalk are going to be a little chalkier. But if I like a pitcher in large field, I like him in a single entry contest as well. Yeah, Larry, you're basically right there. Like, you put in a 5-man stack, you're sort of just funneling to pitchers. Is Hunter Brown a cash game lock? Yes. I think you're going Hunter Brown, Joe Musgrove in cash today. I don't really see the path to anybody else. I just going to want to build some lineups. So let's just do that until we decide we don't have any more lineups to build. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. For the, oh boy, 486 of you that are here. I think we can get up over 200 likes. This is the single lineup sim, my favorite tool on Stochastic. And we are going to build out lineups right now and try to figure out what the best thing we can do is. As usual, I'm starting with the team that I'm getting to the most. Let us find out what we can build from the Detroit Tigers. And let's remember, by putting in the Tigers, we are not going to get to Hunter Brown. So as I look at the Tigers, there are two guys that immediately have to go in, and that's going to be Parker Meadows and Kerry Carpenter. By all accounts, it seems like I need to put Matt Vierling in at third, which then tells me that I got to go to Colt Keith at second. And then I'm going to get Torque at first. Am I? No, I'm not. Zach McKinstry. Nope. I already filled that position. Short? Can I go short? Yeah, we'll put McKinstry in at short. So now we need catcher, first baseman, and outfielder. And then whatever two pitchers we're looking for. Is Stoke over 100K yet? Keith Vape, we're knocking on the door. 200 more. If you are not subscribed to this channel yet, do it. My ego will not allow this to happen off of my watch. We need to cross 100,000 subscribers while I'm live. Now, do I expect that to happen today? No. But whether it's baseball shows coming up or if it has to wait till the NBA, that's fine. But when we go over 100K, it's coming on this back, I'm telling you now. All right. We should have ridiculous amounts of money to go around here. If we're going to do pitching to figure out what we need, then I'm going to Joe Musgrove. And in this case, I'm going to go to Sean Manaea. Leaves us $5,200 per player. So let's think about how we want to do this. Yainer Diaz. Oh, because then that has to be Caratini. I can go Pete Alonso, Francisco Alvarez. Look at the money we have left over here. I'm just going to test out the best that I can get. Kyle Tucker, Pete Alonso. I can't take William Contreras, so it's got to be Diaz. That still leaves $1,200 on the table. First draft. First draft. Boy, oh boy, are the Tigers giving us all the money in the world. 18-5. All right. Well, I would really like to change up the way that this is stacked. So the highest projected Detroit guys are in my lineup. It is Kerry Carpenter. Technically, I need to get to Riley Green, but he and Parker Meadows are basically the same. So I don't really know what that's going to get me. Huh. So not getting to, I mean, like this is, it's basically impossible to spend this salary. I wonder if we could turn this into a 4-4. Like if I take McKinstry out, can I get to the KC piece of this? Can I get Salvador Perez, Pascantino, Bobby Witt, and MJ Melendez? 85, 9, and 151. All right, we're running in place with this one, too. Detroit's projection is just so damn low. Yeah, 21-6. Ah. This is really hard to hunt down. Because, like, oh, man. Baltimore? Rutschman, Henderson. O'Hearn and Mullins. 86-1 and 149. I mean, we're improving, but all I'm seeing is that it's really hard to get to Detroit. At least with the guys that I have in here right now. I wonder if I can do it by using Detroit as whatever's left and attach this to a game stack. Tucker, Alvarez, Altuve, and Bregman. And then we get Detroit for Jake Rogers, Torque, McKinstry. Now, we might be able to turn that into a 4-3-1, but we'll entertain that in a second. And then, was it Riley Green, I'm guessing? No, Kerry Carpenter. So that's a full game stack. Then we take Musgrove. And then we're left with Frankie Montas, which we can do. 89-60, 177. So we went up a little bit in ownership, but we did pick up 2 full fantasy points. This is going to be the best one we've had. How is Hunter Brown the number 1 cash play and Detroit top stack? Explain, please. Hunter Brown is the most owned pitcher, so that's going to put him into any cash lineup. My favorite stack is Detroit. They are not the top stack, but they could be. Daily Fantasy Sports is driven by salary. If everybody on Detroit was 2K and Hunter Brown was 4K, then Hunter Brown would be the best pitcher and the Detroit Tigers would be the best stack at the exact same time. Salary is the distinguishing factor, not performance. So, KJ, if you're here, we're doing it again. But when it comes to things that you could like in DFS, salary dictates those conversations. So it's okay to play both. No. Well, I mean, yes, but like not together. You don't play the Tigers and Hunter Brown. You can play one Tigers bat against Hunter Brown. With 4 games, it's not something that I'd be like super excited to do, but it's not going to kill you. But no, you cannot play them together. All right, let's take a look at Jason Gordon's lineup, and then I'll get back into building out one that I actually think is going to blow up. So that'll be Sean Manaea and Joe Musgrove, Higashioka, Donovan Solano, who I bet to homer today, Colt Keith, Machado, Lindor, liking this so far, Carpenter, Meadows. Am I dumb? I am dumb. Meadows and Tatis. 85-7 and 146. It's going to be in that 20% range, I think. Yeah, 18. Let's hit Ryan's. So that's going to be Lugo, Musgrove, Contreras, who the hell do you have at first base? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hoskins. Got it. Hoskins, Keith, Ortiz, Adames, Green, Carpenter, Meadows. 84-5 and 144. 4. This one, I don't know, in that 10% range again. Oh, 25. Okay, a little bit better. A little bit better. Best we've had. Now I'm going to build the goods. I'm going to build the real top-notch lineup for right now. I actually think that's going to happen by rostering the Mets. So that's going to be Lindor, Nimmo, Vientos Alonso, I really don't want Iglesias. And since Francisco Alvarez has power, let's go to him. Now, for pitching, we can then get to our dude. So we're going to get Hunter Brown, and we're going to get Joe Musgrove. Now we need a second baseman and 2 outfielders for $3,700. So value comes into play here. Now, this might actually be how we can unlock Detroit, but not if we have Hunter Brown. So then I think this is going to become Michael Massey, I'm going to try it with Kansas City at least. MJ Melendez, Hunter Renfroe. 88-3 and 173. Okay. It's not going to be Kansas City, but we could work from here. Yeah, 1.1. It's not Kansas City. So we can do better than that. It's the dueling outfielders at a decent price that we're going to need to really hunt down. We can game stack here, I think. Who's the best second baseman? So it would be Altuve. But we're not going to be able to do Altuve and... What if I pull Alvarez and get Marte? Then I can get Yordan Alvarez. Yeah, that's going to be impossible. Yeah, that's impossible. So the best second baseman we can get is Altuve, but that is not really feasible. Oh, you know what? Altuve. MJ Melendez. Sal Frelick. 90.4 and 183. This is going to be the highest one we bought or we built because we're up over 90 now. And I don't think that ownership is going to be a big enough jump. 5111. Really? 5%. It's got to be the lack of stacking there. How can I correlate that more? It's almost like I need Iglesias. Which opens me up to get William Contreras and probably very little else from Milwaukee. I mean, is this even going to be possible? Like, if I take Frelick, I can't take anybody, can I? We're going to have to get off of Musgrove. I think the pitching has to change. Although I'm guessing Brown and Musgrove are the 2 highest value guys. It's actually Montas, which does not help us here. So yeah, Musgrove, Hunter Brown has to be the pairing. That does allow me to get Caratini. And technically it does allow me to get Chas McCormick. But that just barely blocks us out. We need $100 to have gotten Yordan Alvarez here. The best we could actually do is Jackson Churio. 91.3 and 192. Arias is 4 of 8 off of Fried. Well, that's a lock. Whew, 8 at-bats? Man, I don't know how he'll ever recover from that. All right, I saw the one suggestion of pulling Alonso to get a different Mets bat in. So I'll go back to Francisco Alvarez at catcher now that we have Iglesias. At first, that unlocks Rhys Hoskins? Churio and Frelick? Now, we're still eating way too much ownership here. 33. All right, so that's the best we've had so far because we were able to stack as aggressively as we did. Can I replace Iglesias with someone and go 4-4? I can. I can replace Iglesias. Oh, he's not. That's not better. Iglesias is ahead of Bryce Turang. That's not what I would have expected. So there's got to be a spot that we could upgrade here. It's not Iglesias. It's probably Nimmo. But we don't gain on the ownership side. Oddly enough, Atlanta has some pieces that I'm like sneaky interested in. I don't know why I just clicked Iglesias again as if I didn't just like do this 2 seconds ago. Maybe is it Alvarez? Alvarez can be improved on by going to Gary Sanchez. This gives me an extra half point and cuts ownership. Now, this will be the biggest one we've had. Milwaukee and Mets bats. 4-4. Because we just increased our projection and lowered our ownership. Yeah, there we go. Hat tip to me. Took a minute to find it. But we got there. 15 minutes till lock, folks. Actually, I'm going to play this as a placeholder quickly. I forgot to register the right way. So I loaded my dummy and got my one entry into the relay throw. And I never entered the other 49. And it was already filled by that point. So Musgrove, Hunter Brown, Gary Sanchez, Rhys Hoskins, Iglesias, Vientos, Lindor, Nimmo, Churio, Churio, and Sal Frelick. Yeah, so I'm only playing one lineup today because I'm a moron. So if I smoke 50K with this lineup, I'm going to talk mad shit on Twitter. All right, I think the one thing that we have to do yet, I know I have a lot of people in here with suggestions. I got to build out a Houston lineup. Considering Houston is the most owned team, we need to know what that ends up looking like. Now, Hunter Brown is immediately going in, and then we're going to get the best 5 things that we can get from Houston. Altuve, Tucker, Alvarez, Bregman, and Diaz. So Diaz in, Altuve in, Bregman in, Tucker in, Alvarez in. I don't even know if this is going to be feasible. We have 4,100 left over. Now, if we're talking about which pitcher we should get, Frankie Montas is the best value pitcher available outside of Hunter Brown. Musgrove is close. I'm going to use that extra $800. We have $3K for first, short, and outfield. This is not going to be easy. So I'm going to try you. Oh, man. If I go to Yuli Gurriel, then there's no way I can get Bobby Witt. So we might have to one-off shortstop. If I go Yuli Gurriel and MJ Melendez, I have 3,700 for a shortstop. It can't be the 2 Detroit guys. So by default, it would have to be Orlando Arcia. 90.2 and 188. This ain't going to get it done. Anthony, I don't know what you mean there. Do bullpen guys force a stack? I don't know what that means. Getting the 5 best Houston bats, I think, is impossible. While also building a lineup that you're happy about. If I go Rhys Hoskins, Willy Adames, we end up with $600 left. So, nope. These salaries just have to be like comically low right now. If we do Donovan Solano, Xander Bogaerts, and a one-off Sal Frelick, 91.5, 190. Yeah, no, I don't like this one either. We're gonna definitely have to remove an Astro. Probably Bregman. In fact, I don't even know why I said it like that. Definitely Bregman. Anthony, no. I would say the opposite. A bullpen game to me is generally like it's not something that I'm going to actualize, but I would rather face a starter than a bullpen game. In a bullpen game, you can get the best out of every arm that steps up to pitch. You don't get like penalties for third time through the order and stuff. But if you're stacking, you're not expecting to stack and the pitcher also do well. But no, if you're just asking me on paper, I would have less interest in stacking against the bullpen game. All right, I'm going to pull Bregman so that we could actually have some flexibility here. By pulling Bregman, we allow ourselves to get to... I mean, honestly, Joey Ortiz is really the only guy that is worth a shit from a value perspective. So I'm gonna try Joey Ortiz, which means I'm also going to try Rhys Hoskins, which means I'm also going to try Willy Adames again, which leaves us no ability to roster the final guy. This is really hard, man. This is so much easier to do. Move Diaz to first and go keep cheap on catcher or switch him to Caratini. All right, let's take a peek at it. Let's move Diaz to first, which will allow us to then get... I mean, technically, we can then get Caratini, where we could have them both. That sort of value might be the unlocking piece. Game on, let's go. I like it. 3,800 third short outfield. Can't be Detroit, can't be the Mets. I really don't want this to be Atlanta. I don't want to leave too much projection on the table here. Machado is going to be too expensive. I think it's Jordan Westburg. But then for us to get to Gunnar, we're out of money. So if I get the best Baltimore outfield bat, that's not feasible. There's just... third base sucks. Third base is making it so you got to get to Joey Ortiz in this build. So we can do Joey Ortiz, Willy Adames, and Garrett Mitchell and spend it all. 93.4 and 206.7. We are eating every bit of ownership here. All of it. All of the ownership belongs to us. Yeah, 30%. Not surprised. Not surprised. All right, we need one more. We've looked at the Tigers. We've looked at the Royals. We've looked at the Astros. I mean, the Padres are the lowest top stack team. I think we would be crazy to not see if we can make that be more interesting. Which means we're getting Solano, Higashioka, Bogarts, Profar, and Tatis. I need a value second baseman, which in this case can really be any. We can afford to eat value here, or to eat ownership here. Can we go Iglesias, Vientos, I don't want it to be Taylor. I don't really want it to be Marte. I guess we'll try Nimmo. Leaves us 80. So we can have either any pitcher we want here. We are still open to Hunter Brown. And then we can get Musgrove. Leaves us 1,600. Now, we have natural upgrades that can be found here. Yeah, 3.9. That makes sense. But we can move stuff around very easily here. We have way more salary than we think we do. 4,800 a pop. Altuve. Bregman. One-off outfielder, that's the best thing you can get to. Which in this case would be Jackson Churio. 88.6, 175. Now, we're not uncovering anything here either. San Diego looks rough today, man. Whew. I'm not confident I can build something better. Can we just take the best possible stuff? Which would be Altuve, Westberg, and Churio again? Yeah, no, I don't like this. This is tough. We only got one north of 50%. All right. We're at 224. Lock is coming in a couple minutes. I'll do one more. I don't know which one to take. What should I take? All right, I'm going to flip a coin because Ryan and Malakar both asked for a FanDuel lineup. I'm going to do one of the two, but I'm going to flip a coin to see who's we do. So Ryan, you are going to be heads. It's not this one. Ryan, you will be heads. Malakar, you will be tails. Flip is here. Ryan, you win it. FanDuel build, and then we get out of here. Thank you guys for being here. One last reminder to hit that like button. To the 400 people that are here, you guys should come in and build using this tool. All right, Ryan. So we're going Lugo, Contreras, Colt Keith, Bregman, Adames, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Parker Meadows, Jackson Churio. Final lineup, 99.2 and 108.9. Obviously, our scaling is a little bit different on FanDuel, so can't read into that one too much. 24.5, not bad. Not bad, Ryan. Alrighty, folks, we're going to get on out of here. Like I said earlier on the show, tomorrow is up in the air for when the show is going to take place because we just don't know what time the games are going to be. Like, if this breaks the right way, we might not have games till 7:30. I'll be doing this show at 6:30. You know, if somehow the Orioles-Royals series ends and the Brewers-Mets series ends, I don't even think they'll have us. Like, I won't recommend playing a slate with a 6-hour gap between two games. So whatever tomorrow looks like is going to be a little different. No games on Friday. So Keep your eyes peeled to the Stochastic Twitter account. Keep your eyes peeled to the Stochastic YouTube account to see what we end up scheduling. And check out my Twitter at Josh Engleman. I will post an update the moment we know what's happening here. But if the Tigers win today, then there is not a 2:30 game tomorrow. And we will definitely be able to do this show at 3:30 if need be. Good luck, everybody. Go Braves. And go Marcell Ozuna.